Michael and Tony, first of all, what was it like for you guys there in Melbourne?
It was quite frightening. I think you'd agree, Tony. Tony and I just happened to be chatting here in the studio after the show, after we threw to you for the morning's coverage, and chatting away, and all of a sudden the studio started shaking, not just shaking in a minor way, but shaking quite violently, Tony.
No, exactly, Michael. And I think the thing in here as well, with all the lights and all the extremities kind of coming down from the roof, and I guess the set that we're in, everything was shaking a fair bit more than it was outside this room. So yeah, it definitely felt. I was pretty scared, actually.
Oh, no, It was. No, understandably. And we are going to bring you some pictures of what happened in the studio very shortly. You'll actually see what we're talking about. The set behind us here shaking, as you said, the quite heavy lights above shaking as well. I thought at the time it might have been, certainly an earth tremor, an earthquake, or was it a structural issue with the building? There was just a great degree of uncertainty after what was already a busy morning with coverage of the protests and the like here in Melbourne. Yeah,
no, that's exactly right. It was what I would liken it to would be on those movies where you're on an ocean liner and the stuff just starts shaking around in the rough seas. Well, we know for sure we weren't at sea. So yeah, it was definitely not something that I'd like to be a part of again.
No, I ducked. We have a big window here you can't quite see on camera, which gives us a very clear view outside to South Bank Boulevard here at South Bank in Melbourne. I ran over there to check just whether trees were shaking, whether there was any further damage. There wasn't. Here is how it unfolded as we were sitting here in the studio.
It's an earthquake. Holy shit. Yeah, we've got an earthquake. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, I've never had an earthquake in here before.
Fucking scary.
So there, Joe is, yes, and hopefully the first and last time we'll experience an earthquake, clearly an earthquake now, here in the studio here in ABC Melbourne.
Yeah, I know. When I was living in Melbourne, I felt one when I was down there and it was kind of shaking around on that kind of 10th floor of a building. We're just seeing from Earthquakes GA, the Twitter account. This is on the Geosciences Australia website. Magnitude 6 in the Mansfield region of Victoria. So it's quite really, and the depth is only 10 k's, which is relatively shallow. So we'll definitely be getting on to people in that Mansfield area very quickly. One of our reporters saying, all the rural reporters across Victoria reported tremors from Gippsland to Horsham to Bendigo and to Ballarat. We're also hearing that it was felt in Canberra, and we're getting some of our shows are getting texts that it was actually felt on parts of even on the New South Wales Central Coast as well. So, I know, Michael, you've been looking through your phone there. Have you noticed much information on it?
Listen, it is lighting up, and I've just showed Tony a tweet by our colleague Tom Steinfort, who works at Channel 9, sent by a friend to him in what looks like an inner suburban location, and there is rubble on the ground. The upper floor of this two-storey building, half the wall is gone, awnings are down. I'm not going to say where it is, I don't know, but it's certainly somewhere in fairly close to the city in Melbourne.
Yeah, bricks on the ground as well, broken. So fingers crossed there's no one who's been struck by one of them falling somewhere in around the area. But I'm sure that'll all come out, and we'll see plenty more of these as the morning progresses.
And
lots and lots of people, as you would have been seeing as well, just anecdotally jumping on Twitter and Facebook as well, Instagram, talking about running into the street in sheer horror. All parts of Melbourne once that tremor struck.
Yeah, and I can see, an awning that has fallen on a footpath with, rubble on the footpath there. As people who are living there in Victoria, to Nate and to Michael and Tony as well, what's your knowledge of the Mansfield area? How far north of the Melbourne CBD is that, and what are some of the communities around there?
So that's on your way up to the ski fields, so sort of slightly northeast, a couple of hours up there. So actually more than a couple, about 3 hours on the way up there. So a lot of foliage, a lot of trees, a lot of branches, all of that kind of stuff. So I haven't seen any pictures yet, Joe, of what the damage or no damage there yet. But fingers crossed everyone's okay, because we see what happens when wind rips through those kind of areas.
Yeah,
This is obviously going to throw some situations up.
Yeah. Now, I might just mention the Victorian SES has issued a statement saying if you have building damage or require SES assistance, phone 132 500 and please be patient as lines may be busy. We might just go back to Nate before if Nate's there. Nate, so you've been looking at all the official organisations' websites about the strength of this and the depth. So just go through for us what you've been able to find out.
So far, nothing beyond that first solution from Geosciences Australia, Joe, which puts it at 10 kilometres deep. A magnitude 6.0 earthquake, although it is the first solution. So it normally takes a little bit for the authorities to be able to look at extra seismographs around the country and really hone down that solution. So we'd expect to see an update coming in the next hour or so. As I said earlier, no warnings for tsunamis associated with this. So from a how's the earth reacting point of view, for now, things are over. It's not unusual to see subsequent earthquakes, aftershocks, but none have been felt so far, so we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Of course, after a primary shock, then subsequent ones can easily provide some more damage, and it's quite a concerning one because Australia's not used to having earthquakes this big, at least certainly not very regularly, and definitely not around Melbourne for sure. So I'll keep a close eye on all of those authorities, Joe, but so far, no extra information for you from what's going on the earth side of things.
And we've just got our first pictures to run from this earthquake that's just popped. It's only a short piece of vision, but this is apparently some of the damage in Melbourne as a result of this quake that's just happened in the last 40 minutes or so. You can see people out there getting images of what's happened, and from this it doesn't appear that anyone has been injured in what's happened. Now, obviously we don't know because we haven't seen it's not from when it actually happened, but hopefully no one has been injured there in South Yarra in Melbourne. But if that's what's happened in Melbourne, which is a couple of hundred k's from the epicentre, there's got to be concern about what's happened closer to the quake itself with a depth of only 10 k's. And Michael Rowland's got a bit more information.
We're not just talking Victoria. I've just got a text message from Michael McCormack, Nationals MP, former National Party leader. He says that the earthquake was felt in Wagga Wagga, where his electorate is based. Michael tells me workers were evacuated from CBD businesses in Wagga Wagga. And various reports from inside across Melbourne, just on social media, but from people I trust on social media, talking about tremors, continuing tremors, smaller tremors being felt as of even 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. And we're just, I guess we can expect that to continue considering the strength of this. And these are some more pictures we've just got coming in of some of the damage that has occurred. I'm not sure if that's a different angle on the same building or not, but this is the first time we're seeing this. But obviously some damage on the streets of Melbourne, and those it's unsettling to see those clouds of dust that you see inevitably in the first pictures after an earthquake, when there are parts of buildings that have fallen down and the dangers associated with that. So these are pictures from the streets of Melbourne from this magnitude 6 quake. As Nate has been saying, there will probably be some adjustment to the strength of that as they take a look at registering instruments in different parts of Australia. But Geosciences Australia is saying at this stage of magnitude 6 at a relatively shallow depth of 10 k's, centred on Mansfield to the northeast of Melbourne. We've got a request in to speak to some people in Mansfield. We haven't got them up just yet, but we'll be talking to them just as soon as we can.